And I said, so are you prepared for the crash? Because there's no way this can sustain. There's no battleship that can be out there that doesn't have people who have processes, systems, programs, culture, values, that it won't eventually run into ground. You're going to do it. I don't care how happy things are. A lot of the listeners of this show are in the medical practice space. And I'll say there are times where right now, especially, there's a lot of people looking at what do I do for the future? How do I prep myself for that exit or that buying of my company or partnering with another brand or a larger corporation type situation? As somebody who's gone through it before, what would you say are some of the biggest kind of things they should really be focused on, thinking about, thinking through before they say yes to it? Because when you're doing well, even, and there are people who are doing well, it's not like everybody's in a desperate situation needs to sell, but they recognize maybe my next step is still out there. What are some specific things you would have them think about?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm a big believer in get off the stage while the crowd's still clapping. Don't wait for everybody to finish clapping and leave the theater, right? So that means that when things are good is precisely when you're most likely a target for somebody to reach out to try to buy you, when you're most attractive. If you crest and you start to head downhill, then you're not negotiating with the world from a position of strength.
Sure.
So as things are going well and as you're still growing and building, you really should be thinking about secession. It doesn't mean that you'll do it, but you should have a plan. So that includes what internal folks are around you, and maybe might they be the right next leaders. What might you be wanting to do yourself after? It's not enough to take a payout and you think, whoa, I'm done. But you just left your identity in the rearview mirror. And so who are you now? And so you should be thinking about all of those sorts of things as well. So I, in my coaching practice, I spend a lot of time with founders and leaders talking about these very things. Yeah. What might their runway be? Who around them might be the people that could step up and buy? Like increasingly, there's more and more creative ways to sell a company, to the employees. Is happening more and more and more now, and management buyouts are happening more and more, especially in service-based businesses, and there's a huge wave of a generation that's finally selling. So there's a lot more churn. Yeah, a lot more churn in the market, especially in healthcare. We've got a real lack of primary care in this country. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but it's really hard for docs, especially, to transition out here, and so they're going through a lot of difficulty as they transition their practices. That's for sure. So there's some of the things that really come up for me.
Well, I think it's really wise, and I love that you use the word secession, because a lot of people don't really think of it that way. They think of either selling out or buyouts or whatever, but secession allows at least in a emotional state, to know that it's going to go on beyond you, that it's not the end of something, it's an actual evolution of something. I think it's really, really powerful to be in that space and thinking that way. Now with your coaching, and do you specifically coach now with executives who are thinking about that secession plan, or just coaches in general, how to be better leaders and helping them connect more?
Yeah, I have a pretty broad practice. So I'm kind of a generalist. I'm in lots of different sectors. I still have a lot of healthcare and not-for-profit clients, for sure, right across North America. And one of the things that all of them, if they're running a big organization, they're thinking about legacy, they're thinking about retirement maybe. But I also coach folks that are got startups happening and or that are scaling, and they hit the magic 10 number of employees, and suddenly they need processes and systems and back office. And so I've done that journey, and so I spend a lot of time helping them build out that as well.
Well, let's pivot to that for a moment, because I know that there are people on here who are saying, I'm not ready to sell or have that succession plan, but I'm in this place of building. Maybe I'm not at the 10 yet, or maybe I'm past that, but I'm in this place of building and I want to build a company that means something, build a company that actually connects with who I am and my values. And I think, well, maybe they're not thinking about that. And that's one of the things that I love to talk to you about, because for
Mm.
me, I, I think you attract the people based upon the magnets you put out there. And one of those magnets is your culture, is your core values, is your, the dent you want to make on the universe with your company. How do you approach or help people cultivate the things that are most important to them so that they can, in my opinion, avoid burnout and things like that? That's I just believe that that's where a lot of burnout comes from, is when people are incongruent with their values and what they're doing in the world. So how do you help people cultivate that or create that maybe don't have that yet?
I think understanding your values and unlocking them and writing them down, it's really your ethical model, and it's how you show up in the world. And if you can articulate that to the people around you, then they know what it is that they're attaching to. And I love your magnet metaphor, because either they'll be repelled by it if they're the wrong attraction force, or they'll be instantly magnetically drawn to you. And so the clearer you can be around your values, what you stand for, what you won't do is just as important. What's in the no-go, lane for you as a business is really important. Marketers would call that a differentiator, but I think it also means when you're thinking about values, the kinds of things that you won't do, the kinds of businesses you won't do business with, the kind of markets you won't go into. And they could be for ethical reasons, but they could also just be because I say so.
Yeah.
Because it's my business. Yeah. These are,
yeah.
That's it. So I think that, the beautiful thing about really small companies and small startups is they're so agile, but they tend to be personality driven, and they tend to, be exciting and freewheeling, and you can try things and move fast and break stuff. That's what the startup kind of world likes to say and do. But you get to sort of a magic number of 10 to 13, where that becomes not safe anymore. Actually, you can't be in every meeting anymore. You need to have professionalized management structures start to come into play. You need human resources, processes, and systems. You need performance metrics and key performance metrics and ways to communicate to everybody around you that you're being successful. And this is what good performance looks like. That's a hard moment, because half the company's like, no, I like the way it used to be.
Right.
And so, there's lots of owners that walk back from that say, actually, you know what, we're just going to kind of stay at the 8 range, the 4 range, the 5 range, because that's the kind of company I want. But way too many in my practice find themselves at 20, 30, 40 people, and they still want that, what it used to be like. And there's still those early employees that are still with them, that pine for the good old days. But a whole new set of folks have joined that are looking for psychologically safe work environments. They're looking to do good work. They want to know what the rules are around here. They just want to take vacation, and they want to apply for it. And they want to know that they're getting paid in the right way. And they want to do their work well. And so, where's your SOPs? Like, what are the KPIs? What am I doing around here? And if you look at them blankly, then you are, a recipe for disaster, because you've built something that needs something different from you than what it was like when you first began.
It's interesting. I had a company literally call me today. They're at a ophthalmology company, and it's multiple practices, and I had no idea who they were. They found out about me through another person, and they had said, we're growing so fast, and we've been together. These 3 doctors been together for, I guess it was the last 10 years, but over the last 3 years, we've been growing faster. And I'm talking to the CEO, and the CEO said, yeah, I'm recognizing we're taking people from the business and moving them up into management, but they don't know how to be managers. And then the owners are in a position of saying, well, we don't have time to stop to teach them because we're making so much money and it's moving so fast. And I said, so are you prepared for the crash? Because there's no way this can sustain. There's no battleship that can be out there that doesn't have people who have processes, systems, programs, culture, values, that it won't eventually run into ground. You're going to do it. I don't care how happy things are. And it's interesting when you come up against somebody who is in that place of whether it's a building momentum or actually they are finally hitting that stride and bring, oh, wow, we actually didn't just break even this year. We're actually making a profit and we're actually making more and more profit. Do you ever see people get in that momentum, kind of mesmerized by the momentum so they forget about the things that got them there, or focus on the things that can help them get faster?
Well, yes. It happens all the time because for most entrepreneurs, it's the first time they've ever done this.
Yeah.
So, you know, they don't know it. I mean, they don't know the symptoms. Like you or I are lucky. We're looking from the outside in and we're like, wow, you're about to smash into a wall.
Right.
Like no one can sustain that kind of growth.
Yeah.
But for them, it's so exciting. This is their hopes and dreams coming true. And they just need to hire a new person and a new person and a new person, open up a new location and, you know, get some new funding and drive the new thing. And so they're all about it. Meanwhile, somebody like you or I come in and we sit with the frontline staff and we're like, hey, you know, what's it like to work here?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you. And then the tears start. And so, you know, you get to shuffle back to CEO and say, so you're falling apart at the seams. And that's because you've grown too quickly. You haven't built the processes and systems. People don't know how to be successful here. You haven't defined it. And all they want is boundaries. All they want is rules. And you're operating back when you had none because it was so fun. And you just, you know, we're all like a family around here. We just kind of get in and roll up our sleeves and just go it. But that can't work when you start to get bigger.
Hey, there's no reason to learn how to own your role on your own. If you like that clip, go ahead and click right here for another one. Or if you want to watch the entire podcast, go ahead and click right here. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.